Let me ask you something. How many hours have you put into GTA 5? 100? 200? Maybe more? And you're not even embarrassed about it because honestly, same. Now here's the thing. No matter how many hours you've spent in Los Santos, no matter how many missions you've done, how many cars you've stolen, how many times you've just gone completely off the rails for no reason, there's a very good chance that this game is still hiding things from you. Not small things either. We're talking about details so specific, so deliberately designed, that when you find out about them, your first reaction is going to be, why did they even bother? And your second reaction is going to be going back into the game immediately to test it yourself. That's what this video is, a deep dive into the things GTA 5 doesn't tell you. Let's get into it. The hangout system is broken in the best way. So, we all know that Michael, Trevor, and Franklin can call each other up to hang out. You phone one of them, they agree, you show up at a spot, and then you figure out what to do together. Simple enough, right? But here's where Rockstar's attention to detail, and honestly their sense of humor, really starts to show. Every character shows up to the hangout in their own personal vehicle. That's already a nice touch. But Franklin actually has more personal vehicles than the other two. He's got his bike, his Buffalo, and an Ingus. And yet no matter what Franklin has been driving, no matter what else he owns, he will always, without fail, pull up to every single hangout in the Buffalo. Every time. It's his meetup car, and there's absolutely no negotiating with him about it. Now, here's where it gets genuinely weird. You can show up to a hangout in pretty much any vehicle. Car, truck, motorcycle, all fine. But if you decide to show up on a bicycle, a regular push bike, the other characters will not let it go. They roast you. They make jokes. They question your whole life. The game actually has specific dialogue written for this scenario, which means at some point during development, a Rockstar employee sat down and thought, we need to make sure the characters make fun of you if you show up on a bicycle. That is commitment. But the absolute best one, and this is genuinely one of my favorite details in the entire game, is what happens if you show up to the hangout in a helicopter. Not land the helicopter, just hover. Just sit up there in the sky above them while they wait on the ground below. They'll actually wait for you. They'll stand there, looking up, waiting for you to land. But here's the thing. If you switch over to one of the characters who's waiting on the ground and look up at the helicopter, your previous character is still in it, still hovering. And then, after a while, they get bored. They just jump out of the helicopter and fall to their death, not because of a cutscene, not because of a scripted event, just because the game decided that waiting in a helicopter for too long wasn't acceptable behavior and your character was going to make a decision about it. That's unhinged, and I love it completely. The world reacts to everything. One of the things that separates GTA 5 from almost every other open world game is just how alive Los Santos feels. And I don't mean that in a vague, marketing speak kind of way. I mean, Rockstar put in hundreds of tiny details that you will never notice unless you're specifically looking for them. And even then, some of them will surprise you. Take this one. If you're driving around at night and you crash into a house that has its lights turned off, someone inside will actually switch the lights on. You hit their house, they heard it, and they reacted. That's it. That's the whole detail. No reward, no mission, no consequence. Rockstar just wanted the world to feel like real people live in these houses. And they quietly built in a reaction so small that most players have never seen it in thousands of hours of gameplay. Here's another one. You know those shoes hanging from power lines around the city? Most people assume it's just background decoration, something Rockstar threw in to make the neighborhoods look lived in, but there's actually a real-world meaning behind it. In a lot of cities, shoes hanging from power lines are used to signal that drugs are being sold nearby. Rockstar didn't just add random visual clutter, they snuck actual street culture and real-world symbolism into the game world. You can walk past that detail 100 times and never know what it means. While we're talking about things you walk past, the trees. Most trees in GTA 5 will drop a few leaves if you crash into them. That's already a detail most people don't notice, but some specific trees will actually drop fruit instead. Not all of them, just some. Why? Because Rockstar. That's why. Here's one that changes how the world feels once you know about it. All those phone numbers you see on billboards around Los Santos, you can actually call them. Most of them work, but if you call at night, they go to voicemail. The businesses are closed for the day. Rockstar programmed operating hours into random billboard phone numbers that 99% of players will never call. They did not have to do that. They did it anyway. And speaking of phones, Here's something that sounds simple, but is actually fascinating. Your in-game phone signal changes based on where you are. Full bars outside. Signal drops in tunnels, which makes sense, right? But it also drops inside the prison. Go in there and your bars start disappearing, suggesting there are signal jammers inside, just like in real life. Nobody asked for this level of accuracy in a video game. Rockstar built it in anyway. The characters are deeper than you think. The three main characters in GTA 5 are some of the most well written in gaming, but a lot of their depth isn't in the cutscenes or the dialogue you're supposed to hear. It's in the tiny behavioral details scattered through the game that most people never catch. Let's start with something that sounds small, but is actually pretty meaningful. If you're driving around and hit a cow on one of the farms, Michael and Trevor both make jokes about it. They call them little dudes. They laugh it off. But Franklin apologizes. He actually says sorry to the cow for hitting it. Same event. Three completely different reactions. That's not an accident. That's a writing team using a throwaway moment to show you exactly who these three people are, without a single cutscene. Here's another one about Franklin specifically. Lamar, his best friend, has a line during one of their missions where he literally tells Franklin to use his concentration thing. He specifically calls out Franklin's special ability, which means within the fiction of the game, Lamar knows Franklin has some kind of enhanced driving ability. This isn't a cutscene detail. It's just a line of mission dialogue that shows Rockstar was thinking about how the characters would actually perceive each other's abilities in the real world of the game. Speaking of special abilities, here's something interesting if you've played both the original and enhanced versions of GTA 5. Trevor's special ability actually got nerfed in the enhanced version. In the original, it was absolutely terrifying. The damage boost was massive. The rage felt real. In the enhanced version, Rockstar toned it down significantly. It's still there, but it doesn't hit the same way. A lot of people didn't even notice the change. Now here's a character detail that hit me pretty hard when I found out about it. After Michael dies in one of the game's endings, if you go back to his house, there's a for sale sign out front. His family has moved on and put the house on the market. The game didn't have to do that. The story is over. But Rockstar wanted the world to actually reflect what happened even after the credits. That sign is just sitting there for anyone who goes back to check. And at the graveyard up in North Los Santos, near the stairs by the art station, there's a bench. It has an inscription on it, in memory of Chris Edwards. Chris Edwards wasn't a character in the game. He was a Rockstar employee who worked on several of their titles. Someone on the team put the bench in the game as a tribute, tucked away in a corner where most players will never notice it. That one's not a fun Easter egg. That one's genuinely touching. The physics are doing things they shouldn't. GTA 5 runs on one of the most detailed physics engines in gaming history, and most of the time, it works exactly like you'd expect. Things fall, things break, things explode in extremely satisfying ways. But sometimes the physics do something so unexpected that it crosses from impressive to just deeply strange. Let's talk about the bulldozer. The bulldozer is already a fun vehicle to drive around, but if you somehow get one to the top of a building and push it off, or use a mod to drop one from height, it doesn't fall like you'd expect a massive piece of heavy machinery to fall. It slowly floats down, like it's in slow motion, like it weighs nothing. This giant, heavy, industrial machine just drifts to the ground. It doesn't happen to other large vehicles, just the bulldozer. Nobody has a solid explanation for it. Here's one that requires a bit of setup but is so worth it. Some cars in GTA 5 have backfire flames that shoot out of the exhaust when you rev the engine. It looks cool, fine, but if you pour fuel on the ground and park one of those backfiring cars directly over the fuel trail, the exhaust flame will actually ignite it. The fire spreads along the trail you poured. You can start a chain reaction just by parking correctly. The game simulates the heat from the exhaust interacting with flammable liquid on the ground. In an open world video game in 2013. The window one is good too. If you shoot out all your car windows, then drive through a car wash with the windows still broken, the water sprays inside the car. And when you come out, your character's clothes are actually wet. The game tracks that the windows are broken, tracks that water would get in, and updates your character's appearance to reflect it. For a car wash. That most players drive through once as a joke and never again. And the military base missiles. There are missiles sitting on carriers at the military base that you can shoot and blow up. Standard G2 stuff. But if you specifically shoot them at the back, near the thrusters, instead of exploding immediately, they activate. They start spinning around on the carrier, moving erratically, before eventually going off. The game has a separate behavior for what happens when you hit a missile's thruster versus its body. Rockstar thought about that. The world loads in real time and you can abuse it. Here's something that sounds like a technical detail, but is actually one of the most interesting things you can do in the game once you know about it. It doesn't load everything at once. It loads what's in front of you, what your camera is pointing at. Things behind you, out of your view, haven't fully loaded yet. That's how open world games have worked for years, and it's completely normal. But here's the part that's actually kind of mind-blowing. If you're driving forward at full speed while keeping your camera pointed backward, the road in front of you doesn't load, because you're not looking at it. The streets ahead of you are completely empty. No traffic, no NPCs, nothing. Which means technically, if you can drive while looking backward, you can fly through Los Santos at insane speed with zero traffic in your way. The game physically cannot put cars on a road it hasn't rendered yet. It's not a cheat. It's not a mod. It's the game's rendering system working exactly as designed, just being used in a way nobody intended. Rockstar's sense of humor is something else. One of the things I genuinely love about GTA 5 is that Rockstar doesn't take itself too seriously. There are moments in this game where you can tell the developers were sitting in a room, laughing, and just going with it. Felipe the Valet is the perfect example. He's a nothing character. He parks cars outside a hotel, he has maybe 2 lines. And yet somehow, the GTA community decided he was their enemy. Players started treating it like a tradition, pull up to the hotel, blow up Felipe. Every time. Without fail. Rockstar noticed. And instead of ignoring it, they leaned in. They added a poster in the game world. A fundraiser for Felipe to cover his medical bills and injuries from all the explosions. They took a random, completely irrelevant NPC and gave him actual lore, because the community made him famous. That's a game developer paying attention, having a sense of humor about it, and rewarding the community for their collective unhinged behavior. Chop the Dog has a few moments like this too. You can play fetch with him, throw a ball, he chases it, brings it back. He's a good boy. But if you throw a grenade instead of a ball, Chop will still chase it, because he doesn't know the difference. He just sees you through something, and he's going to bring it back no matter what. The game doesn't warn you. It doesn't stop you. It just lets Chop be Chop. There's also the thing with the truck drivers. If you follow a truck driver around the map for a long time, really commit to it, just tail them through multiple roads and areas, they eventually get uncomfortable. They notice they're being followed. If you keep going, they'll eventually pull over, get out, and just attack you. No mission. No prompt. The game simulates a random NPC reaching their limit and deciding to do something about it. Most players will never see this, just because nobody follows a truck driver around for that long. The mission design has secret layers. A lot of players treat GTA 5 missions as linear, get to the marker, follow the instructions, complete the objective. But a surprising number of missions have hidden layers, alternate outcomes, or details that most people never discover because they're playing it straight. The torture mission is the big one. Trevor tortures a guy for information, and basically every player who's been through it assumed it was unavoidable. Just a part of the story you have to sit through. But it's not mandatory. If you find and kill the main target before the torture sequence begins, the cutscene changes entirely. The mission plays out differently. You skip the whole sequence. It's something almost nobody ever tried, because nothing in the game suggests it's possible. The Bury the Hatchet mission is similar, except instead of one hidden outcome, it has 2 completely different versions depending on how the story has played out between Trevor and Michael. In one version, they actually fly out together on Trevor's jet, and Trevor starts digging what's supposed to be Michael's grave. In the other version, Trevor ditches Michael completely, Michael has to call for help and find his own way there, and arrives to find Trevor has already dug the grave. Same mission name, same location, 2 entirely different experiences based on where the characters are in their relationship. Some players have put years into this game and only ever seen one version. Here's a smaller one, but it's interesting. If you miss a character's phone call for a mission, just don't pick up, the game doesn't always just leave you hanging. Sometimes it sends you a text with the key information you would have gotten from the call. It's a backup system. It's quiet. It works. And it means Rockstar thought about what happens when the player doesn't engage with the system the intended way. And during the big score finale, most players don't realize there's a way to lose up to $100 million without dying, without failing, without anything dramatic. If you don't keep the helicopter steady enough while Lester is trying to shoot down the Merryweather chopper, he misses his shots. And when Lester misses, a huge chunk of the money goes with it. You can complete the mission and walk away with a fraction of what you should have gotten, just from being a slightly bad pilot at one specific moment. The details that make you feel the world is real. We've talked about a lot of things in this video, glitches, Easter eggs, mission secrets, but I want to end on the stuff that genuinely impresses me the most. The details that aren't funny or exploitable, but just make the world feel real. When you're riding a motorcycle and someone hops on the back, the bike actually slows down. Your top speed drops because the game is accounting for the added weight. You can test it yourself on a straight road. Most games would just not bother with this. Reactive 5 does. When you're driving with NPCs in the car as passengers, their face changes based on how you're driving. Casual cruise, neutral expression. Full speed through a red light on the wrong side of the road, they look genuinely angry. Not just a different animation, an actual reaction to your specific behavior. If you keep making your characters run without stopping, really push them non-stop, don't let them catch their breath, they'll eventually need to stop and recover. Their stamina builds up over time, but if you keep pushing them past their absolute limit, they can actually collapse from a heart attack and die. Reactive 5 simulates physical exhaustion all the way to cardiac arrest. Nobody asked for this. It's in there. The sun is different for every character. If you look at the sun as Michael, then immediately switch to Franklin and look at the same sun at the same exact moment in the same direction, it looks different. Every character sees it in their own way. Michael, Franklin, Trevor, distinct visual differences for the same object in the same sky. Why? Rockstar never explained it. It's just there. And then there's this. You know the scene early in the story where Michael flips off Lester's CCTV camera while he's waiting at the front door? Lester captured that footage. In the official promotional artwork showing Lester at his computer setup, if you look at his screen in the background, you can see Michael's photo from that exact CCTV angle. It's in the background of a promotional image, hidden in plain sight. Lester kept the photo. Of course he did. The small stuff that makes you stop and think. Alright, let's run through some of the smaller details before we wrap up. Things that are quick but genuinely worth knowing. Amanda's license plate says Crystal, spelled as Christ and then the letter L. That was her stage name from before she met Michael. It's on her car, just sitting there. A whole piece of her backstory on a license plate. Some houses have mailboxes out front. If you shoot them, pieces of mail fly out. Nobody would ever think to test this. If you own a yacht in GTA Online, which starts at around $6 million, and you complete the missions associated with it, you unlock the yacht captain outfit. It's the most expensive outfit in the game, locked behind one of the most expensive purchases, requiring additional mission completion on top of that. Most players will never own it. If you take Chop somewhere far from home and ditch him and say go home, he'll try to find his way back. But if you follow him, you'll realize he has absolutely no idea where he is. He wanders, he circles, he looks confused. You can follow Chop for hours, and he will make zero progress toward home. He's doing his best. If you fly over the airport as Michael or Franklin, nothing happens. Normal landing. But as Trevor, the control tower immediately warns you that you're in restricted airspace and need to leave. Trevor is officially banned from the airport due to his history with the military. The other two characters can land there freely. Trevor cannot. And the lighter. Pre-release promotional posters showed Trevor holding a lighter. That same lighter actually exists inside his trailer, sitting on a table. You can find it. You just can't use it. Here's the thing about GTA 5. This game came out in 2013. It's been picked apart by millions of players for over a decade. And people are still finding things. Not because Rockstar was sloppy. Because they were the opposite of sloppy. They built a world with so many layers, so many details that serve no gameplay purpose, reward no achievement, trigger no mission, that it is genuinely impossible to see all of it. The shoes on the power lines, the wet clothes after the car wash, the light turning on when you crash into someone's house in the middle of the night, none of that needed to be there. All of it is. That's what makes this game different. Not the missions, not the map size. The fact that somewhere in Los Santos right now, there is almost certainly something nobody has found yet. If you know one I missed, and I'm sure you do, drop it in the comments. I'll be reading them. See you in the next one.